Hello there, and welcome back to episode 2 of the 330 Cryptos. And today we are going to build a Nile Monitor. Share this a little bit. I know, but this is one of the very interesting creatures, and that for me, that I've found that's from Africa, and kind of from the same area as what these guys are from. So that's why they have a habitat like that. I do want to make like a statue kind of thing of this dinosaur and add it here, like in the back, like something like that. So, but that I want some more money first. I'm keeping the money I have at the moment to build the next habitat. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the building, and I'll talk to you in between and at the end. But yeah, let's start with the story. Okay, so in the early 1900s, there was this guy called Willie Ley. He was a science writer. In some places it says that he was a historian of science. I don't know exactly what a person like that does, but mostly he wrote about science fiction, and Wiki says he was a proponent of cryptozoology. I had to actually go search that word to see what that means. So that means that he advocated crypto. He was a big enthusiast, basically, right? He was a big enthusiast, and if he lived in today's life, he would be a YouTuber, right? That kind of guy. So he published a book called I think it's called The Lungfish and the Unicorn in 1941. And in this book, he spoke about, like he quoted and wrote about this study or survey or writings that he read of a guy called Ludwig Freier von Stein-Zulausnitz. Whew! I hope I said that right. I'm going to have to put that on the screen or something. But I think I said it, Freier von Stein-Zulausnitz. Yes, I think I said it right. So this guy, this German captain, wrote a report, right, about a survey they were conducting of the German colonies in what is now Cameroon, but back in 1913. They did this survey there with the German colonies, and he wrote a report about these surveys. And in the report, he wrote about the numerous stories they were hearing about this creature called the Mokele-mbembe. And it apparently lived in the jungles and apparently especially close to the river areas, like it liked the water. This huge creature. I'm going to actually read you a quote from his... So you have to understand... First, let's just slowly walk through how far past down the grapevine this is. Willie Lay wrote about a report that this captain wrote about stories that he heard from the villagers, right? From the tribespeople. Because these tribes are apparently very remote and they don't come into contact with civilization often. So, usually tribes, and we want to believe that they have very interesting stories and stuff. But we'll get to why I said we want to believe in a bit. First, I'm going to read you a little quote from this report, this von Stein's report, right? So it goes as the following. The animal is said to be of brownish grey color with a smooth skin. Its size is approximately that of an elephant, at least that of a hippopotamus. It is said to have a long and very flexible neck, only one tooth but a very long one, and some say that this tooth is a horn. A few spoke about a long muscular tail like that of an alligator also. Canoes coming near it are said to be doomed. The animal is said to attack the vessels at once and to kill the crews, but without eating the bodies. The creature is said to live in the caves that have been washed out by the river, in the clay of its shores at the sharp bends, and is said to climb the shores even at daytime in search of food. Its diet is said to be entirely vegetable. This feature disagrees with a possible explanation as a myth. The preferred plant was shown to me. It's a kind of liana. My name is Liana, by the way, my real name. It's a kind of liana with large white blossoms and with a milky sap and apple-like fruits. At the Sosombo River, I was shown a path said to have been made by these animals in order to get at its food. The path was fresh and there were plants of the described type nearby. But since there were too many tracks of elephants, hippos, and other large mammals, it was impossible to make out a particular spoor with any amount of certainty. Spoor, by the way, is a track. Yeah, interesting. So, as you can hear, there's these tales. So, what do our minds immediately jump to when we hear stories like this? And obviously, the American people had the same reaction to this book being published and this story coming out. This report being publicized. It must be dinosaurs, right? It sounds like some kind of what are those dinosaurs called? The sauropods. So sauropods were those big, long-necked, big-bodied, smooth, like the Loch Ness Monster kind of vibe, but just the ones that were on land. Yeah, so obviously that's what we're all thinking, and the Americans freaked out, and even the Europeans, they freaked out. They all started flooding to the freaking Congo one by one, the Congo, by the way, is a very, very dangerous place. So I don't think it's easy for anybody to just fuck into the Congo and go try and find this thing. I think quite the expeditions had to be set up, and it's quite interesting. It must be noted that most of these expeditions were funded by creationist companies. And the whole Mokele-mbembe, to be honest with you, the whole Mokele-mbembe narrative is mostly pushed by creationists, I have found, which is, it's interesting in itself. So, yeah, what do we make of this? later on, well, first before, what do we make of this? Later on, I think in like not much later, but a little bit later, this guy called Trader Horn, right? His real name was Alfred Loisius, I don't know, but he was apparently this very famous explorer from the late 1800s / early 1900s, and he also wrote about this big long-necked type of sauropod-like creature with one horn or one tooth or big tail and things like it. Same kind of description that he got apparently from the villagers and tribes people. And then in much later on, like in 2000s, there was a TV series, the BBC TV series called, I think, Congo, and they went to a group of pygmies who live like north, or I think it's north of the Congo Basin, somewhere there, and showed them like books with pictures of different dinosaurs in it, and asked them to identify Mokele-mbembe, because like their argument was that these people, they don't know anything. They don't have TVs. They don't have internet. They don't know anything. So how are they have no influences from outside. So I mean, whatever they say, that must be real, right? I mean, it must be. So they showed them pictures, and then some of them pointed out rhinos. Interesting. Some of them pointed out elephants, and some of them pointed out like the brontosauruses and things like that. But again, this was in 2001, right? And then in 2016, this same thing happened with a bunch of South African filmmakers that went also, and they later on sold their documentary to Discovery Africa, where they also went and had the people identify, like show, oh, this one, right? So I saw some of I've seen much of that footage. Much of those documentaries. I haven't found the original documentaries yet, but I've seen a lot of clips from there. And with that being said, it's time for me to start poking holes all over in this bitch, because yes, I'm a fantasy person. I love fantasy. I love cryptozoology, and I really want to believe in these things. I really want to believe, but I'm a very big skeptic at the same time, and you have to kind of, something mustn't smell too fishy, because then it's probably fish, does that make sense? I don't know. Right, so my point is, let's start at the beginning of the story, right? In the beginning, I told you this guy, how all of this started was this guy called Willie Ley, and he published a book, and in the book he spoke about this report from von Stein, right? So after some further digging to try and find the whole von Stein report and read the full thing for myself, nobody, as far as I can see, we can't find that report. It has never been seen again. The only place that anybody has ever heard of it was this mention in this book that Willie Ley wrote. So that, like if you're into investigating these kind of myths and legends and stuff, like I am, the first thing you want is like valid sources. The first thing you must come show me is your sources. I want to go read the sources for myself to make sure that you didn't like leave out something that I might find important. That's why I'm a big a reader of things like the Vedas. I love the Vedas. I'm busy working my way through there. I'm almost done with the whole Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh also, because like I feel like people just usually tell you the highlights, but maybe those are not even the highlights for me. That's also why I've read the Bible backwards and frontwards, all the different ways, because for me the Bible is actually a very interesting history book, same as with the rest of this or the rest of the spiritual scriptures out there. It's more history than anything else. Sure, it teaches us about spirituality and all that stuff also, but if you read it from a historical and a scientific kind of perspective, I wouldn't say scientific is maybe a strong word there. Well, I don't know, like more of a logical perspective, right? Then it looks very much different, and it doesn't seem so much like bullshit anymore. So, yeah, I'm not saying anybody out there who has a creature, I'm not saying the Bible's bullshit. I'm actually saying the opposite, if you can hear what I'm saying. I know lots of people think it is, though. I'm not going to lie to myself and think that everybody is on the same freaking spiritual page out on this planet. No. So, okay. First of all, that guy, von Stein, his report, we don't know where it is. So, we don't know if it's real. We don't know. We don't know if the original account of the story is real or not. We can't validate that. So, big fucking hell. And then secondly, this other guy, Trader Horn, he was apparently not so nice. Like, he used to manipulate, like, yeah, he had lots of stories and stuff. And then lastly, these people that came through in the 20th century, similar to the whole situation of Trader Horn, they brought lots of nice things for these tribes people. And now let me tell you, as somebody who's from South Africa and gets to do a lot, like I have a lot of interaction in my life, have had, and in general I get to see a lot of what the tribal people and the more rural people live like, because every town in South Africa has a tribe just outside of the town it's like the slums or like the ghetto, but it's more like way more old school than the slums or the ghetto. It's like there's very little technology. There's probably not running water at all in any of the units, except for the fancy newly built ones. But 90% of the places, they don't have electricity or running water, right? 90%. And let me tell you that side of the city is probably bigger than the city itself is, with every town that there is in South Africa. So you can imagine the population crisis there is in here. And I can tell you that these people, even though they look rural and they look primitive, they know what's going on, friend. And they know that if they want something or something good, like they're hustlers, they know. So now here comes a bunch of fancy motherfuckers. In they walk with all their expensive food and all their expensive stuff and their watches and their Rolexes and all that stuff and their fancy Cape West Union, Cape Mart Union, whatever, clothes and backpacks and shit. These people know, let's tell these men what they want to hear. And we've been going there since the 1920s or since the 1940s, trying to ask people, and they don't go asking, hey, so tell us about here. Just letting them, letting the subject be open, not kind of guiding them to what you want to hear from them. No, the people go in and tell them, can you show us the Mokele-mbembe? Can you tell us about them? Now they know these white people, they're all coming for the Mokele-mbembe. We're going to just make some money out of them. And I feel like the creationists do the same thing. I saw that Kent Hover even had this big thing where he was funding expeditions there and shit like that. So, that makes me very sus of the realness of this creature. There's many other creatures out there that I think are a lot more real and existing still today than this one. I think this might have been like a story carried over many generations from some of the theropod-like, not theropod-like creatures from the time period that happened just before the Younger Dryas, right? Because that was the last time just before big extinction happened, big flood. That was the big flood, right? Younger Dryas, right? So I think this thing maybe was a relative of something that survived from then, but I do think it's long gone. I think it's long extinct. I think if we can, we must go in there and go check it out, though. We'll find some bones probably, but I don't think it lives anymore. I don't know. What do you think? That's pretty much it for the build. So it took me the whole time to tell the story. That's great. So now I can Just do cinematics. Let's go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Just a little footnote that I didn't mention just now about the Mokele-mbembe, something I just want to mention, right? Logically, if this thing did, logically it couldn't still exist because of, the reason why very big creatures existed long ago was because there was much more oxygen, right? Oxygen levels were higher. They had bigger lungs, they needed more oxygen. There isn't really, maybe in the jungle where there's not a lot of civilization, maybe sure, it can be the size of an elephant, sure. But not dinosaur, that's not a dinosaur. You feel me? That's just maybe some prehistoric, like the koalakans. I'll do a whole episode about the koalakan for you guys if you want to. But, the koalakan was thought to be extinct. When they found it, they thought it was a prehistoric fish. It looks like prehistoric, sure, yeah. So that I just wanted to mention that, logically, it probably doesn't exist. But you never know. I don't know. I'm very on the fence about this one because I can kind of see how it could be on the one side also. The fantasy side of me. Okay, so I hope you like how it ended up. I will play for you now. We do have babies in here by now. As I think I said that in the beginning. If you know me, you know that I'm recording the beginning, the intro, the voiceover for the build, and the final part in 3 different sessions because, ADHD is a bitch and we do what we can. So, we do have little babies that's almost at the point of maturing, and then there's newer babies also, these ones are newer. We have so many little white babies all around. Sorry for all the rain, eh? I ended up building this Mokele-mbembe type thing, just to have a little memento of the story inside the habitat itself. Also, this needs to be replaced. I already told the guy to come. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching my video. I really appreciate all the views and all the likes so much. I didn't expect for it to do so well from the jump off starting point. So thank you very, very, very much for all the support, guys. If you like what I do, please subscribe so you can be notified, and hit the bell so you can be notified when I go live, because sometimes I say when, sometimes it's just a kind of impulsive thing. Because she is a bitch and we do what we can. So, something is happening. Oh, that's bad. I'm struggling with this freaking keeper and this exhibit. I think the people keep on touching the thing. Anyways, I'll show you guys more about what's going on there, what's going on here, and what's going on there in the streams. You probably by this time already know all of that. So... because the recording timeline is a bit fucky, as I've said. Anyways, let me say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Please come back if you want to. If you don't want to, I'm not your mom. I can't tell you what to do. Yeah, see you soon. Bye.